Hello, what's up guys, CodefForge here, welcome in the next video. Today, most of the time, we will be working with the Maven, and the target is to create a fat jar with all the dependencies packaged as the archive together with the application properties. And package like this can be easily delivered to your clients or deployed on the environment. To get started, we will create a simple Spring Boot project. We will use the Java language, Maven for the project management. The Spring Boot version will be 2.2.6. Group stays the same as always. And artifact will be fatjar demo. And we'll add one dependency here that we will use to make sure that our service is working correctly. And it will be Spring Web. So now we can generate project, open it in the IDE and start coding. So we are here in the IDE in the first place. Let's create simple controller and configuration class. So we go to the source main Java, and in our main package we want to create a configuration package. So we say configuration, and also let's create the controller package. So we say controller. Okay, inside the configuration package we want to create an app configuration class, and in the controller we want to create greeting controller class like this. Let's go back to the app configuration and we'll implement this class. In the first place, we'll add configuration annotation at the top. And we'll create private property, which is a type of string and will be called greeting. And we'll use value annotation to inject the value from the properties file. So we'll do this way, and the property will be called greeting. And also we will use the getter. Okay, so let's move to the controller. It will be the REST controller, so we will use REST annotation. And we want to inject our app configuration class here, so we will use auto-wired annotation. And we'll create a property that will be the type of app configuration class with the same name. Now we want to create a get mapping, and the path for this will be /greeting. And now the method that will be attached to this endpoint will be public. It will return string, which will be our greeting, and let's say it will be get greeting. It will not take any arguments, and we want to return app configuration get greeting, just like this. Now let's move to the properties. So let's get rid of these directories, we don't need them here. And in the properties file we want to override the default property, which is the default port 8080. We will set it to the 8081. And we also want to create greeting property, and let's say it will be hello world for now. So here is our very simple web service, and the first step of this tutorial was to create or build the fat jar, and it is already done in this project, and that is because we are using the Spring Boot initializer, which is by default adding this Spring Boot Maven plugin, and this Spring Boot Maven plugin is building the fat jar. If for some reason you are not using the Spring Boot initializer, you have to add it in your build step. Otherwise, you will not get the fat jar. To check out how the fat jar looks like, we have to build our project. So let's first clean it. It looks good. So now we can install all the dependencies and build our project. And after a few seconds, the target directory over here should appear. So a few more seconds and it's over here. To make things clear, let's open this target directory in the Explorer, and it's over here. And over here in the project directory we have the target directory, and inside we can see that we have two jars. The one which is the plain jar file, and the second one is the fat jar. And you can say that it is the fat jar because it has bigger size, right? This fat jar has all the dependencies, so we can simply use the console and run this jar. So we say java-jar, and we pass the name of our project. We hit enter, and after a few seconds our service should be up and running. And you can see that it's working on the port 8081, so let's check it out. So here is the web browser. If we open the localhost port 8081, we get the error, but if we navigate to the greeting endpoint, we get the hello world which comes from the properties. So the next thing is that how we can override the properties. So for example, we want to change the greeting from the hello world to something else. And we can do it by adding the config directory over here. So let's create a new directory with the name config. And inside we have to create a new file, and it will be application.properties. We don't want the extension, we want to hit enter and say yes. Okay, so it's here. We can open it up in the IDE, so it will be in the config application properties, and we want to copy these properties from here to here. And let's change the greeting from the hello world to hello Java. So now let's try to rerun our application. We go over here to the target. We want to open git bash here. We want to say java jar fatjar demo, hit enter. It's up and running. So we can bring the web browser, it's over here. We go to the greeting endpoint, and if we hit enter, we can see that this hello Java. And now the question is why it's hello Java. When we are building our application as fatjar, the Maven is copying the application properties from the resources directory, and it is putting them in the fatjar over here. But what we have done is we have created the directory named config and the application properties file inside. And those properties file from the config directory has bigger priority than the one in the fatjar. If we delete the config directory, we will get the hello world again, and this is because this is the default value which has been copied from the sources of our project to the fatjar. Now we know how it's working. The next step is to adjust the build process using the pom.xml file. So the fatjar will be placed in the dedicated directory, and in this dedicated directory we will also have the config directory together with the application properties file. So we want to go to the pom.xml. We want to create a dedicated directory for our fatjar, so we want to add the configuration section in our plugin. So we go over here under the artifact ID, we add the configuration section, and inside we have to add the output directory section, and inside we want to define where our fatjar should be placed, and we want to place it in the project.build directory, which is the target directory. We want to put the slash, and the directory which will be created will be project.artifactID dash project.version. So let's check out if it's working. Let's enable auto import over here. And now let's clean our project, so the target directory should disappear. Okay, and now if we install it inside the target directory, we should see the new directory with the name of our artifact and the version. And if we open it up, we can see that we have the FATJAR demo 001 snapshot. So this is the new directory, and inside we can see our FATJAR, so it's working. Next step is to create a config directory inside and copy the application properties file from the resources and put them in the config directory inside our dedicated directory for the FATJAR. So it should be placed somewhere over here. And to do it, we have to use the Maven resource plugin. Under the Spring Boot Maven plugin, we want to add another plugin. So we say plugin and we want to specify the artifact ID, and it will be Maven resources plugin. We hit enter. We will get the group ID and the version from the IntelliJ, so it's good. Now we have to specify the executions, so we say executions. Inside we want to use the execution tag, and in the first place we will specify the phase, it will be the validate phase, and after that we have to specify goals, and our goal will be copy resources because we want to copy application properties. Now we can create the configuration section, so we say configuration, and inside we want to specify the output directory, and we can copy this and paste it over here, but at the end we'll add /config, and this is because inside of the FATJAR demo 0.0.1 snapshot we want to create a config directory inside. After creating this config directory, we want to copy there our resources, so we say resources. Inside we want to specify the resource, and this resource directory, I don't know why its autofill is not working, so it will be the directory, and inside will be source main resources. So this is the path of our resources, source main resources, and everything from the resources directory will be copied to the config directory, which will be created in the FATJAR demo. Let's check out if it's working. So we want to clean the project. Okay, target directory disappeared. Now we want to install it. And after a few seconds, target directory should be here. And if we open the target directory FATJAR demo, we can see that we have the config directory inside, and we have the application properties. If we open it, we can see that we have the values for the server port and the greeting, and this is exactly the same like in the resources directory of our project. So it's good. So the last step is to create Hive out of our FATJAR demo 001 snapshot directory, which stores the configuration and our FATJAR. And to do it, we will need to use Maven assembly plugin. And this plugin is using assembly file, which we have to create. And we have to create on the same level as the resources. So let's say it will be new directory, and let's call it assembly. And inside we'll create a new XML file, which will be called zip.xml. Inside I will paste some snippet, which can be taken from the Apache site, from the Maven assembly plugin documentation. We have to specify here a few things. The first one is ID, and if you don't put it here, it will not work, so let's call it zip. The next thing is the format which we want to produce. So we say formats. Inside we can use the format tag, and we want to produce zip file or archive. And the last thing which we have to specify is that what we want to put inside our archive. And to do it, we can use the file sets. And we want to specify file set, and we want to specify directory. You can also work with the single files, but since we have created this entire directory, we will work only with the directories. And the directory will be target / project artifact ID, and after that project version. Okay, I think it's good. And the second tag is the output directory, and this one is pretty tricky, and we have to do the dot and the slash, so it will be the main directory of our archive. Okay, so let's go back to the POM file, and inside we want to add another plugin, and we want to specify the artifact ID, and it will be Maven assembly plugin, and we'll get the version of the group ID. It's good, and like before, we have to add the execution. We want to specify phase. This time it will be package phase, and also goal. If you don't specify phase and the goal, it will not work. I have tried it. The goal must be single. And now we can move to the configuration, and inside configuration we want to specify descriptor, and our descriptor is the zip.xml file which we have created a few seconds ago. So we have to say descriptors, inside descriptor, and we have to specify the path to the descriptor, so it will be source main assembly zip.xml, and we will remove extra space. I think it's good, so we can try to clean it. Okay, and now install, and we should get the zip file. Will we get it? No, we'll get the error. And this is because we specified the extension for the zip, which is uppercase, and we should use lowercase. So let's go back to the zip.xml and let's change it to the lowercase. Now let's clean it again. Let's install it. And after a few seconds, it should be up. We get build success. We open the target directory, and here is our FATJAR demo zip file. So let's open it in the Explorer, target directory, and here it is. If we open it up, we can see inside we have the directory, and inside our directory we have our FATJAR and the config together with the application properties. Let's try to run it. So we'll create a new directory called, let's say, deploy, and we want to copy this here, and we want to run it. So we open the git bash here, and we want to say, oh, let's before that change the configuration. So we'll open the notepad and hello from deploy directory, and we'll change this to the 8080, which is default. Why not? We save it, close it, and we want to say java-jar fatjar demo. We hit enter. After a few seconds it should be up and running. It is. So let's open the web browser. So here's the web browser. We are on the localhost 8080, and if we go to the greeting endpoint, we'll get hello from deploy directory. So it's working. We can close it right now, shut down the process. So this is how you want to create a deliverable fat jar that is archived together with the properties file, which is especially useful if you want to prepare it for the continuous integration and continuous deployment. Or simply you want to have only one file to deliver to the client or the dedicated team responsible for CI/CD or DevOps. So yeah, this is all I have prepared for today. Thank you for watching, and if you like my content, remember about subscribing, liking the videos and leaving comments. See you next time.